Both my parents had passed very early on, so my sister and I were the only ones left to take care of my grandmother. She had been living by herself in a condo, and we slowly noticed that she was no longer taking care of herself. So we decided that it would be easier if she lived closer to us. My Nana was very outspoken, very stubborn, just sort of headstrong as far as how she wanted things done, how she wanted things taken care of. So she was definitely still her own person, so we had to respect that and at the same time try to get things done to take care of her. It's easy to be a professional and help other people organize their time. It's very different when it's your own family member, and you get very emotionally attached, so it's very hard to sort of separate those two things out, which I found very quickly because I tried to be her social worker, which does not work. Being prepared for emergencies was key. I always tell my caregivers to plan ahead. Dealing with things in a crisis is so difficult because your mind is not in it. So I eventually developed like a folder on the refrigerator that I kept the current med list. I kept almost like a face sheet where I had her insurance information, her doctor's name, all of our information, and I kept her power of attorney in there. I kept her do not resuscitate code status in there, everything they would need, so if they came to the door, I could just hand them the folder. I think the other key, and really it's just making sure that I was aware of everyone that was involved in her care, making sure I had their phone numbers, and again, it goes into planning. It saved me a lot of time in the end because I really knew every person who was involved. I didn't have to make 100 phone calls. We thought my Nana was doing fine. I went in her refrigerator, there was no food. Next time the long-distance caregiver's in town, check their refrigerator, check their laundry, have them drive you somewhere and see, are they really getting where they need to go? You know, there's things that you need to find out as to what are their needs. Sometimes it's something very simple and it's an easy fix. You can get someone to volunteer from their church, sometimes it's more in depth. Maybe there is major changes going on that you need to look into. Maybe it is taking them to the doctor and finding out is there a cognitive deficit, and that requires more resources to get involved. Starting the conversation to sort of say, I'm trying to help you with this situation, or this is to sort of better you or to try to get your needs met. It's not always an easy conversation. I know a lot of times people are like, how do I approach a power of attorney conversation? Power of attorney sounds so scary. It sounds like I'm taking total control. Sort of explaining that powers of attorney don't go into effect unless you can't speak for yourself, I think it's nice to know, again, be informed. What is the document actually saying? Explaining it to them as best you can. Just making sure that you're making it clear that this is not to benefit you in any way, that it's to sort of make it easier on them so that they can get the resources that they need to sort of get their needs met.